Hello, my name is Sanga Emmanuel, and I'll be presenting on the working principle and experimental procedure for experiment 7, which is the double effect evaporator. So the double effect evaporation process can be carried out by two main methods, which is either by the falling film process or by the rising film process. The falling film process uses gravity as the driving force, while the rising film process uses pumps to provide the driving force for the process. So the general purpose of the evaporation is to boil off a volatile solvent from a non-volatile solute to produce a more concentrated product solution. This concentrated product is the steam is the stream from of importance in this process. So in this case, the current double effect evaporator is being used to concentrate a high dose of sugar solution from about 10% to 90%, and a multi-effect evaporator uses a series of evaporators, which is known as the effects, to accomplish a similar result as stated above. This system utilizes the latent heat from the water vapor from the previous effect to boil off the excess water in the solution. So the steam efficiency is greatly increased in a multiple effect evaporation process compared to the double effect and a single effect evaporator, as less direct steam is required to produce the same product concentration. This is to this is due to the reuse of the water vapor boiled off from the solution.
Let's first look at this animation of
So
a
raw
triple
steam
effect
is used as
evaporator.
the heating
We have
source for the
steam
first
coming in
effect,
and
and then the
entering the
boiled off
first
vapor
effect,
from the
and the
first effect
condensate
is used as
leaves
the
at the
heating
bottom of
source for the
the
second
heating
effect.
section. The
The
raw
animated
juice is
process can
entering
be seen in the
from the
video
bottom
as shown.
and it rises in those tubes as it heats to the top, where some of the liquid turns into vapor and the other concentrated liquid then moves down. The vapors leave the first effect, and rather than discharging them into the atmosphere, those vapors then enter the second effect as the heating medium. Note that the heating medium in the first effect was steam, and now for the second effect, the heating medium is the vapor that is coming from the first effect. Those vapors will then condense in the heating section and they will leave as condensate. Now the concentrated stream from the first effect is then fed into the second effect at the bottom of the heating section, and it rises through the heating section to the top. Again, more vapors will come out of the liquid stream, and those vapors from the second effect are then passed into the third effect as the heating medium, where they will discharge their heat and the condensate will leave at the bottom of the heating section. The concentrated liquid from the second effect is then fed into the third effect at the bottom of the heating section, and again more vapors will come out at the top, which are then discharged into the atmosphere, and the concentrated product stream leaves on the right hand side from the third effect. So in a triple effect evaporator, steam comes in and enters only the first effect, and then for the second and third effect, heating is done by the vapors that are being discharged from the previous effects. Of course, the vacuum inside these chambers will be maintained at appropriate levels so that the liquid streams in those effects can appropriately boil and discharge vapors. So note that the boiling temperature in each of these effects is different, and that boiling temperature is maintained by using different levels of vacuum in each of these effects.
Next, we have the experimental rig and setup. The experimental process is set up as shown, and the different equipments and apparatus needed for the process. The experimental procedure and plan for the step-by-step process to carry out or conduct the experiment is explained below. First, we begin by preparing about 10% sugar solution by dissolving a kilogram of sugar in 10 liters of water. Then we make sure every equipment is put in place as well as their conditions. And then we open the valves V7 and V9 and close the V1, V8 and V10 valves, and then switch on the steam boiler, and after which the capacity of the feed pump is adjusted to 40% to manipulate the feed flow rate to about 6.48 liters per hour, and the operating temperature is set to 115 degrees Celsius. Then the boiler pressure is increased to 5.4 bars, which is indicated by the red line on the gauge, and the feeding pump is then turned on. The vacuum pump is also switched on in order to speed up the evaporation process. And next the sugar product solution and water condensed are collected separately by adjusting the position of the valves. For the collecting of the sugar product solution sample, the valves V7 is closed and V8 is open simultaneously, and at the same time the V9 valve is closed while the V10 valve is open simultaneously as well to collect the condensed water sample. And then the volume and refractive index of the collected products are measured, and the valves controlling the steps in V1, that's V7, V8, and V9 and V10 are, are repeated for every 5 minutes, and the data is collected and recorded. The same steps are repeated for 60% and 80% feeding pump capacity, which represents about 9.72 liters per hour and 12.98 liters per hour respectively. So the after that the experiment is continued by adjusting a different operating temperature, such as putting the temperatures to 105, 110, 115. That's varying the temperatures to get different observations and results. The product sugar solution sample and condensed water sample are then collected after 5 minutes for each temperature adjusted, and then the volume and refractive index of the collected product are measured and recorded. Thank you.